Hello and welcome to Complexity Limit's Guide to the Mythic Shriekwing Encounter, written and produced by Crzypck in coordination with Complexity Limit, presented by Herman Miller. Just a quick note before we begin, this guide assumes you know the fight already on Heroic. As such, we will not be discussing or explaining the Heroic mechanics, we will assume you know them, and will exclusively be focused on the Mythic changes and strategy. If you need a refresher on the basic mechanics, please check out our Heroic guide on the channel. Shriekwing is a fairly simple boss on Mythic. You'll essentially need to have one person in your guild that you trust to not get hit by mechanics, and it'll fall over within a few pulls. The Mythic twist on this encounter is that the little sonic orbs created by Echoing Screech and Echoing Sonar cannot be seen by players, making it impossible to know where they are, and impossible to dodge them. Fortunately, Blizzard gave you an easy way to counter this. There's now a blood lantern in the room, which is quite literally a lantern that can be picked up by a player. You'll notice that it has a small red circle around it. When a player picks up the lantern, the circle becomes much larger. Standing within that circle will give you a stacking dot, which deals about 800 damage every 3 seconds per stack and lasts about 12 seconds. So why is that a good thing then? Well, whenever you have that dot, you can see all of the little sonic orbs. However, you'll want the most reliable mechanical player in your raid to be the lantern holder, as they absolutely cannot be hit by a descent while holding the lantern, or it'll shatter, deal heavy damage to the raid, and spawn an ad. If that happens, you will wipe. Okay, let's get into the specific strategy. For starters, you'll want to use Bloodlust on the pool. In phase 1, you don't actually want to use the lantern at all. Instead, you can simply bait the Echoing Screech and move away from where the orbs are going to be. To do this, tank the boss near the front left pillar. Place a raid marker near the center of the room, just a hair further forward from where the pillars are. The ranged should stack on this marker, and the melee should stand between the boss and the ranged marker. When the boss casts Echoing Screech, the entire raid will shift to the left and move around that pillar, negating the mechanic completely. You'll stay there until she casts Ear-Splitting Shriek, at which point you'll hide behind that pillar for the cast, and then go back to your initial positioning. You'll do this twice, then enter the intermission phase. A couple minor notes for phase 1. First, melee need to ensure they're not hit by the blind swipe. The ranged markers should be far enough away that they won't get hit. Second, you'll want to handle the echolocation just like you did for Heroic, by running it to the edges of the room. In the intermission, your assigned lantern carrier needs to bring the lantern to the group and give everyone stacks. Have a raid marker on another player in the group to be the leader, and the whole raid should follow that person. Make sure you're hiding when the boss casts Ear-Splitting Shriek in this phase, and you'll want to move around the room only as necessary to dodge the sonic circles. Your lantern player should move the circle on top of the raid about every 8 to 10 seconds, making sure the dot never falls off. If you need to choose between a couple of extra stacks of the dot and a debuff falling off completely, always choose extra stacks. A little extra damage can just be healed through with a cooldown, but a couple seconds without being able to see the orbs can easily wipe the raid. However, you don't want the lantern circle on the raid for the entire duration, or the dot will stack high enough to kill you. Ideally, you want to try not to go above 14 stacks. Healers are almost certainly going to want to use a raid cooldown or two at the end of the intermission to help keep everybody alive while the stacks fall off. Once the intermission ends, you'll move to the back of the room. From here, it's rinse and repeat. You'll handle everything exactly like you did the first time, this time using the bottom left pillar. You'll have a new marker near the center of the room, just a hair below where the pillars are. Ranged stack on the marker, melee stack between the boss and the marker. You'll move to the right around the pillar when she casts Echoing Sonar, hide behind the pillar for Ear-Splitting Shriek, and go back to your starting spot for the phase after the Shriek cast ends. If you do get a second intermission, you'll do the same thing you did the first time. Play Follow the Leader around the room, make sure everybody has stacks, and dodge the circles. Continue repeating as necessary until you have a dead bat. Congrats on your first mythic kill, and let's go on to the next boss. Thanks for checking out our video. Now that you know how to kill the boss, be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for the rest of our guides, kill videos, and a whole lot more.